We are going to turn back to the World Cup now. Kevin Kilbane has landed back in Manchester, I understand. A very good morning to you, Kev.
Good morning, Owen. How are you keeping?
Not too bad at all. We just want to start on something here because Babs Keating at the weekend was giving out about Johnny Glynn wearing 2 gloves. I've heard his next column today is going to be giving out about you wearing 2 gloves while eating your food in Russia on Friday night.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. I don't know, it was a strange little thing that they had. They had these, like, you're having a bit of the chicken, so instead of giving you little finger balls to wash your hands or little wipe to clean your hands, they give you gloves instead. So it just takes it all away, doesn't it? It was just it was a nice little touch from the restaurant there. It was good.
Yeah, it was good. That's via Dan Walker's Twitter account there on screen right now. So how was it? You've come back. You're not going back over, I understand, before the end of the tournament. Was it an emotional couple of weeks for you? Probably an emotion of anger for the most part, looking at England succeeding.
No, I'm not bitter, Owen. You know me. I'm not bitter at all. No, I'm desperate for England to do well, as you know. Yeah, it's great. But no, it was. No, I have enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it. It's been such a great experience. Just across the country has been great. I've done some great games as well, which always helps. And spent a bit of time in Moscow as well. And it's considering the low expectations before I went out there, I'd spoken to you in the show the last couple of weeks about that. The expectations were so low going over there. I think it exceeded probably Brazil 4 years ago. That's the way I feel. A World Cup in Brazil was outstanding to go to, but this was just something very special. It was, yeah.
Yeah, just on the Moscow element there, it seems to just be complete universal praise for the city as an experience. And I wonder, has that praise filtered through to the Ingerland fans back home? And there might be plane loads of them coming over before Wednesday night. Yeah,
I mean, I'm sure there'll be loads getting over. I don't know how they're going to get tickets, how they're going to get the fan ID. The fan ID could be the problem for them and the visas. But yeah, if there's thousands of fans going in looking to cause trouble, then that of course could cause a different sort of mentality maybe from the police over there. But as I said, I think I'm sure there was a message to the police out there. Look, you might need to be a little bit more tolerant here than what you maybe have been in the past. That could have been the message to them, but I can only take it from what I saw. And I said to you, every part of it was run perfectly. Organisation side, metro buses, everything just runs so smoothly. But as you say, like maybe this week it could be different. There might be a different element of supporter going over there. We'll see, but hopefully not. Hopefully it just continues to run the way that it's run up to now, and hopefully there'll be no trouble towards the semis and final.
Yeah, absolutely, with you on that one. So England, obviously, it wasn't the most exciting game on Saturday. I think we were all enthralled, though, by seeing England just get through to a semi-final. It's such a novelty for so many of us who've never seen it happen before. And there is a sense, Kev, that they weren't even near top gear on Saturday.
No, do you know how many times have you heard the phrase, and I've probably used the phrase myself, probably a bit loosely, that there's no easy games in international football, but that was as easy a game as you're going to find at any level, let alone a quarter-final of a World Cup. Sweden offered nothing. They offered very little. Yes, Pickford had to make a couple of decent saves, don't get me wrong, but there was no pace in the game. England cruised through the match, and it should have been that way. Let's be honest, if you look at the teams, 1 to 11, 1 to 23, whichever way you look at it, the squad difference is it's massive, it's huge. So that was why you could clearly tell that England should have played the way that they played. It should have been a cruise the way that it went for them. Croatia haven't been flying at all as well, so they're going into this game off the back of, yes, the real high against Colombia, the extra time, which would take a lot out of the legs, but that was a real down game for them. That was a real game where they could have actually took the foot off the pedal a little bit. And I think certainly it's advantage England going into this Croatia match, given the fact is that Croatia have had the 2 extra times and penalties.
I do want to get your take on Raheem Sterling, because obviously it's been well documented that he's been coming last in all these online player ratings over the last couple of games, and there does seem to be kind of a national feeling, like separate to all the tabloid stuff written about him, or maybe that's the reason why the national or the public in England seem to think that he is not performing near his top level. And of course he doesn't have the goal scoring element in his game. He hasn't had it for quite some time for England, but I was quite impressed with his performance on Saturday. I thought, because they don't have a deep lying creative midfielder who can pass the ball, it's his runs that allow the creativity to flow through this England team.
Yeah, his final ball, Owen, it's the one that lets him down. His finishing probably lets him down. And I heard him described at the weekend as a player's player. And maybe the lads there, Michael and the lads in studio there, and Anthony, sorry, they'll tell you exactly what the story is when you get a player's player. When you know someone that's doing a job, but they're not always pleasing on the eye. They may make mistakes when in key moments in games. And I think in general, that's exactly what I think Sterling is. Sterling gets England up the pitch. I think he pulls off defenders into key areas where he's going to get on the ball on his half turn. Then he's going to be able to run at defenders. He commits defenders, but his final ball has seriously been lacking. It really has. You can't get away from that fact. Even at the weekend, the positions that he got himself into, he could have had a couple of goals. But the runs that he's making, if he continues to make those runs in key areas of the game, in key moments of the game, particularly in these latter stages against Croatia. I mean, he's up against Vida and Lovren, or maybe even Choluka and Lovren. You know how badly he could hurt those players with his pace. So that is what he's going to bring to it, and that is why he's a key weapon for England, I feel. Yeah.
Kev, I do feel that Harry Kane is definitely the most dangerous player on the field. But is England's midfield of Henderson, Ali, and Jesse Lingard good enough to dominate the Croatian midfield of Modric, Rakitic, and it's been Rebic or the guy from Real Madrid, Kovacic?
Kovacic, yeah. No, and the point you make is valid. It's probably not. It's not good enough to compete at that level. Certainly, ball retention. Anyway, that is where England could get undone on Wednesday. I think it is. Yeah, that's where they could be seriously hurt. Henderson actually played quite well Saturday. I thought his distribution was a lot better than it was against Colombia. I felt in the Colombia game, I think Henderson, if you're playing in that deep line role, I think you've got to be prepared to make mistakes, but you're also going to have to be prepared to get on the ball. And I felt he'd made a couple of mistakes in the game in the second half. And I think overall, then I think he maybe had a reluctance to get on the ball. I think he went hiding a little bit. I think he stepped in behind midfielders, pointing to others to take the ball when he was in so much space to take it. So Henderson could be one where if things aren't going right for him, then he may have a tendency to not want the ball, and that could be a big area for England if they are getting dominated with those players that you mentioned, Rakitic and particularly Modric. Modric, he's been the mainstay. He's been the one you've been reliable, because Rakitic was quite poor in that last game against Russia himself. But Ali's not been firing. Yeah, he got a goal in the last match, but he hasn't been firing. He's not been getting the ball. I don't think he's been creative enough. Jesse Lingard probably brings you something different, where he's going to bring you the energy. He's going to bring you the legs to get round the pitch and maybe go and close down, and maybe even ball carrying as well. But certainly retention, that is where this could be the key to this game. Ball retention, and Croatia have got far better players in that area, yeah.
But Anthony here, Kevin, how you doing? And saying that,
Anthony, all right, mate.
The Croatia are looking a tired team to me, and Modric kind of looks like he's a fella, especially with the kind of nearly that weight of the expectation of the whole country on his shoulders, and he's been wearing it okay, well, but if you talk about ball retention, they're going to have to retain it, because I think England look a bit livelier, a bit fitter, and I think just less tired. And obviously you take in the extra times and the penalties, but even before that, Croatia were just looking a bit leggy for me. Is that an issue, do you think, for them?
I thought it was massive. I thought it was massive, certainly, how leggy they looked in the two games. Denmark can do that to teams. Denmark are a poor watch, I feel. And they just stifled them. They dropped off. They give them no space, and they did look leggy. I thought they looked leggy in the two games, but I'm not talking about extra time here. I'm talking about maybe in the first half of games there was no energy in the side. The thing is with Modric, I said before, Modric has been the one player that you feel as though you can rely on. I think he's been trying to do too much. I think he's been trying to even go and beat players, which is unusual for him, go and beat 3 or 4 players at times, trying to make something happen for Croatia, and it simply hasn't been. So I think overall, what Southgate has done, you talk about the energy that's in the side, I think maybe in relation to what Michael was saying there as well, they haven't got good ball players. So I think what he's decided, well, I tell you what, we're going to go with real energy in the team. Legs might carry us through in this type of game when we're playing against sides that are simply better than us on the ball. I think that's what Southgate's decided on by Henderson. You know what Henderson's going to bring to the side. I think defensively he's as good as anyone. Certainly on his half turn when opposition have the ball, he's always checking the shoulders, stopping balls being threaded through to strikers' feet. I think he's very good at doing that. But on the ball is where he's lacking, and that is where there's maybe 1 or 2 others in that England side that are lacking that. So I think Southgate decided, he decided quite a while ago as well, we are not going to have as good a side as other teams, but we're going to have to play high energy football, go and stop teams playing, and that is where they've got the success up to now. In the maybe late stages of games, the last 20, 30 minutes of all England matches, I think they've struggled. I think they've looked leggy as well, because they've not been able to maintain that real high intensity of a game that they've been playing.
Just a quick word on Belgium against France, Kev. It's tomorrow night in St. Petersburg. Maybe we've misunderstood Roberto Martinez for his entire career. Maybe he's just a massive footballing genius and we just didn't realise it until now.
No, do you know what, Owen? I said I wouldn't be his biggest fan, but as a coach, he is very, very good. That's the one thing that's always been relayed back from players on the training ground. Very, very good tactically on the training ground. I think he has great ways of changing systems to suit opposition, and I think he's even got ways of changing systems in games. The back end of Everton, it was almost a defiance of my will overtake opposition without necessarily going to play different ways. That's where he went away from the things that got him the success at Wigan prior to getting the Everton job. So I think in general, across his coaching career, he's had success at tinkering and changing teams like he did going back to a back four. I think that surprised Brazil the other day. I think it was a massive thing bringing Fellaini in and nullifying the threat of Coutinho, because Coutinho had to drop deeper and deeper and he wasn't having an effect in the game. De Bruyne getting him a bit further forward as well in a little triangle with De Bruyne, Hazard and Lukaku. They played so well against Brazil. So he has got that way about him. He might not necessarily be always liked by people and maybe even players at times as well. But I think in general, tactically, something that he's always been very good with. Who's
going to be in the final, Kev?
I'll lean towards France, but it's a flip of the coin, that one. I do. I just lean towards France. Just maybe they've got a bit more big game experience in that side. But again, certainly no surprise if Belgium beat them. And it kills me to say, but I think England are going to beat Croatia. Just from what I've seen of Croatia, I've seen them frightened. I've seen them not playing with the real energy that they played within the group stages when they were outstanding and getting out of the group. So it kills me to say, but I think it could be a France-England final, yeah.
The Brexit derby to decide the World Cup. Kev, before we let you go, we just want to play you a quick video of some karaoke and an England legend.
Here we go, the build-up. Carmelite set moya, yeah, jumbo, raise the party, away go. Oh, Carmelite set moya, yeah, jumbo, eat the breadstick. Oh, yeah, we gonna have a party. All night long. All night long. Go now. All night long.
Alan Shearer there singing into a breadstick for all our audio listeners this morning. Kev, is Alan Shearer the best of the lot when it comes to the karaoke singers in the BBC?
He does love it. He says I'm the best, but no, he's not bad, Alan. He's quite good actually. Yeah, he does love it. He does love it. He does a good. What's the one by I can't think of the song now. Sex is on Fire. Who sings that? Oh, you know that one. Kings of Leon. There you go. Kings of Leon. Sex on Fire. He doesn't mean one of those as well, actually. Yeah. So it's. I come at the back end of that party on Saturday night. So yeah, he was well on at that stage when I got back in. Yeah.
Good stuff, Kev. Enjoyed the reacclimatisation to this part of Europe again, and good to have you on this morning.
Cheers, lads. All the best. Take it easy.